Researchers have observed this pattern in many different environments. Self-control decreases after the brain has processed too many small decisions. Food choices decline. For a long time, I believed that my problem was simple. I believed that I only needed better clothes, more clothes. There was a season of motherhood when I would stand in front of my closet longer than I needed to, longer than I meant to. I was not standing there because I had nothing to wear. In fact, I just had too many options. However, something still felt unsettled. I would change my outfit once, and I would change it again. Some mornings I would change it another time. So 3 times. The strange part was that even after I finally chose something, I still felt slightly off for the rest of the morning. Sometimes for the rest of the day. At the time, I told myself a few different stories. I told myself, maybe you've told yourself these as well, that I needed to lose weight. I told myself that maybe I just needed more discipline. I even wondered if simply I did not care enough about how I showed up. Later, I realized that it was actually none of those explanations that were correct. The real problem was friction, misalignment. And friction at the beginning of the day, it compounds as the day continues. Most women don't struggle because they lack discipline, taste, or potential. They struggle because they're trying to transform alone. And research actually shows that people who pursue growth inside a community are up to 65% more likely to follow through on actual, tangible, meaningful change. And it's not because they're stronger, because they're supported. They've got accountability. They are able to be reinforced with this new behavior. And that's what most women are missing. Not more information, not another checklist, but a room. A room where standards are higher, where self-doubt isn't normalized, where growth is expected, not explained away. The Style Empowerment Society exists for women who know what they are capable and that they are capable of much more. Have been telling themselves that they don't have the time or it's not necessary. Yet confidence isn't built in the spare moments. It's built through alignment, repetition, and being seen. Style here isn't about clothes. It's about presence, identity, and remembering the worth that has always been yours. But it got buried under responsibility, noise, and comparison. When women gather around clarity instead of chaos, transformation becomes inevitable. If you are ready to stop circling your potential and start stepping into it, the Style Empowerment Society is where that begins. Join us. It's free to enter, and it's where becoming her stops being theoretical and starts becoming lived. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever finished getting dressed? You still felt unsettled. Like you didn't look bad. Something just felt slightly out of alignment. You could have even gotten a bunch of compliments on this outfit. Still, you weren't like in it. Like, you were wearing it. How they say you weren't wearing it, it was wearing you thing. And if that has happened to you, I want you to comment the word aligned below this video. I read those comments. I want to see how many women have felt this experience. Most women believe that getting dressed is about appearance. In reality, getting dressed is also about stability in your brain. Getting dressed is one of the first visible decisions you make each day. Research actually shows that adults make lots of decisions, somewhere around 30,000 to 35,000 decisions every single day. Psychologists refer to this as decision fatigue. Decision fatigue happens when the brain has to make too many choices. As the number of decisions increase, the quality of those decisions decrease. Researchers have observed this pattern in many different environments. Self-control decreases after the brain has processed too many small decisions. Food choices declined. Judges their decisions, which is scary, their decisions decline as well. Now think about the beginning of your day. If one of the first visible decisions already feels unclear, what happens to your mental steadiness, your mental stability for the next 12 hours? You are not being dramatic if this affects you. You are simply burning energy, a lot of it, before your day even actually begins. Imagine your car where one wheel is slightly misaligned. Your car's still going to go forward. However, the steering wheel is going to pull slightly to one side. The vehicle's going to end up using more fuel. The system experiences more strain. So over time, the cost is going to become noticeable. Wardrobe friction works in the same way. You still function. However, you spend more energy than necessary. Many women blame themselves for that exhaustion. In many cases, the real problem is just simply that friction. Researchers Adam and Galinsky studied a concept called enclothed cognition. In their study, participants wore the exact same lab coat. One group was told that this coat belonged to a doctor, and another group was told that the coat belonged to a painter. The coat didn't change. Same coat. However, the meaning attached to that coat changed for one group and the other group. The participants who believed that they were wearing a doctor's coat actually performed better on attention and focus tasks. The clothing did not change their intelligence. The meaning changed their mindset. This matters more than most people realize. When a woman wears something that she associates with competence, with structure and composure, her brain often responds accordingly. When a woman wears something that she associates with survival mode or a past season of life, her brain is going to respond accordingly. This is not superficial. This is symbolic signaling. If this idea is making sense to you, I invite you to like this video. That simple action tells me that you want more conversations like this one. There was a time when I kept wearing a pair of pants that they technically fit. However, I continuously adjusted them throughout the entire day. I pulled out the waistband, I smoothed the fabric, I repositioned them again and again and again all throughout the day. By the middle of the afternoon, I was so irritated. At first, I assumed that my schedule was the problem. I assumed that the children were the reason that I felt so tense and overwhelmed. Later, and after thinking about what I was going through, I realized that the real issue was that sensory stress. When clothing constantly needs correction, the nervous system remains on alert. You never are able to fully relax. That low-level tension, it builds over time. That experience is not weakness, it's physiology. Environmental psychology shows that visual clutter can increase cortisol, which is a hormone related to stress. So your closet is part of your environment. And if your closet feels chaotic, your brain must process even more information. If your closet contains many pieces that might work, your brain must evaluate each option. The brain prefers clarity. Ambiguity creates small, little tiny amounts of stress that's going to accumulate. Order reduces noise. This is one reason a clear wardrobe feels calming even before you get dressed. This is not about minimalism. This is about clarity, alignment. Psychologists sometimes discuss a concept called possible selves. So human beings carry different versions of themselves in their minds. We remember who we used to be. We imagine who we hope to become. We experience who we are becoming in the present. If a closet contains pieces from many different seasons of life, the brain must reconcile multiple identities every single morning. Some items represent survival seasons, some represent past careers, some represent experiments with trends, some represent an imagined future version of ourselves. When those identities, they compete, tension is going to appear. A closet should represent one coherent woman, not several competing versions. Take a moment and think about this question. Does your wardrobe reflect the woman you are becoming, or does it reflect the woman you used to be? You can share your thoughts in the comments. I love reading and talking to you guys, hanging out with you guys. Makes me so happy. Presence is alignment made visible. When friction decreases, your body responds. Breathing becomes steadier. Posture improves. Speech becomes calmer. Confidence does not always mean becoming louder. Often, confidence means becoming steadier, clearer. Many people believe that executive presence begins in a conference room. In reality, presence often begins in your nervous system. Clothing plays a huge role in that process. There are 3 small changes that you can make this week. First, remove one item that irritates you. You might love this item, but just thinking about how it doesn't fit right around your arms, how it restricts your movement, that sort of irritation is so important to pay attention to. If you are adjusting throughout the day, it is costing you so much energy. Second, identify one silhouette that works reliably for your body. Predictability reduces cognitive load. Third, create a simple 3-outfit formula. The structure remains consistent while the pieces change slightly. So clarity is going to protect your energy. Energy protects authority. Authority influences outcomes. Getting dressed is not superficial. Getting dressed influences cognitive positioning. Getting dressed influences identity reinforcement. Getting dressed influences the environment that you experience every day. When that friction decreases, energy returns. Energy is one of the most valuable forms of leadership currency. If this conversation has changed how you think about getting dressed, I invite you to like this video and subscribe for future conversations. You can also comment the word clarity below if you are ready to build a wardrobe that supports your nervous system instead of draining it. Inside the Style Empowerment Society, we practice these ideas in a practical way. We focus on order, alignment, and steadiness. If that approach resonates with you, I invite you to join us. The link is down below. We also have the Confidence Through Clarity masterclass that I do the 3rd Saturday of every single month at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So join us in there for that. That's such a great time for us all to get together and have our... So remember that style is more than what you wear. It's how you step into your God-given purpose. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another video. I will see you in the next one.